It's November, and it's starting to get a little cold outside, so that means that we are right in the middle of the NFL season. I'm Chandler Mack, along with my co-host Danny Kelly, and today we, along with the rest of our Cap City Sports staff, we're going to give you our mid-season report card. We're going to kick things off in the AFC South where, how would you say, Danny? It's been pretty bad in that division, huh?
Oh, for sure, yeah. Every team in that division is under 500, so that's pretty depressing.
Exactly. In fact, the Colts currently lead that god-awful division with a 3-5 record, which is pretty astonishing considering that most people had them going to the Super Bowl this season. But, Danny, what do you see transpiring in this division for the rest of the season?
Well, I think the Colts will come out on top in this division. I think that they could finish below 500 and still win this division, like say 7-9 or something like that.
Yeah, to go with the biggest disappointment thing, it's got to be the Indianapolis Colts for me, man. Like I said, they were picked by so many to be Super Bowl contenders this season. So many of our Cap City Sports staff picked them to be in the Super Bowl this year. But they have a 3-5 record. They're kind of on a little slide right now. They lost 3 straight games. And not only that, Andrew Luck leads the league in interceptions with 12. And it doesn't really look like things are going to get that much better for them because they have one of the toughest remaining schedules in the NFL. So they're probably my biggest disappointment. But let's move things over to the NFC. And let's talk about another pretty bad, pretty mediocre division. It's kind of hard for me to say that because my team's in that division. But the NFC East, where some people are saying the NFC least. Danny, who is your biggest disappointment in this division?
Well, you got to say the Dallas Cowboys are my biggest disappointment. They're 2-5. I know Tony Romo's been out, so is Des Bryant, but they had Brandon Weeden come in, couldn't win a game. Now they have Matt Castle, couldn't win a game. They're 0-5 since Romo's been out. So you gotta rally around your team and at least get 1 or 2 victories while your starting quarterback's out. But they were not able to do that.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you on that. Dallas Cowboys are definitely my biggest disappointment in that division. Most people had them in the Philadelphia Eagles winning the division this season, but even though they've had injuries, they had Romo going down, like you said, Des Bryant went down for an extended period of time. They've kind of been flip-flopping their running backs here and there. They end up cutting Joseph Randle on Tuesday. So, I don't know. They're definitely like the biggest disappointment still because even without Tony Romo, I feel like Matt Castle and Brandon Weeden should have been able to win at least one game without him. And the fact they've gone 0-5, guys having outbursts with the special teams coach. Did you see that? What the world? I don't see them really winning this division or really having any chance to win this division, in my opinion. They're definitely the biggest disappointment. Now, who's your biggest surprise in this division?
My biggest surprise is definitely the Washington Redskins. They're 3-4 right now, so below 500, but I still think that they've been an improved team from last year. Kirk Cousins has been playing pretty well in recent weeks. They had a really crazy comeback win over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers a couple weeks ago. That was a fun game to watch. They looked very, very professional in that last quarter of the game where they came back and won.
But enough of the NFC East. Let's move things up a little bit and go to the NFC North. Now, Danny, who's your biggest surprise in this division?
Well, I definitely have to say the Minnesota Vikings. I didn't expect them to be playing as well as they are right now. They're 5-2. They're definitely within striking distance of the Green Bay Packers, who are sitting atop the division right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Vikings have been playing exceptionally well, and I think that they have a legitimate shot at making the playoffs.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you on that. No one really thought the Vikings were going to be this good at this point in the season. People thought they were going to be competitive. Even I said that they were going to be a sleeper team in the NFC back at the start of the season, but I did not see them doing this. They're 5-2, right behind the Green Bay Packers in that division. Adrian Peterson has came back with a vengeance. He is 3rd in the NFL in rushing. That defense looks pretty impressive. And Teddy Bridgewater has continued to improve in his sophomore season. And I gotta honestly say, they look really good. And they look like they can be a real competition to the Green Bay Packers. But let's move on to our division winners. Who do you see winning all 3? The NFC North, the NFC East, and the AFC South?
All right, first with the AFC South, I still think the Colts will win this division. I think that like I said before, they've owned this division the last couple of years. I think that they'll still sweep this division. I think they'll come out on top.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you on that. Even if they have 7-9 record, I think the Colts are gonna definitely run away with this division. All right, let's go to the NFC East.
This is a close one. All the teams are pretty neck and neck, in my opinion, but I'd have to say that I like the New York Giants to win this division.
Okay, all right, I like that pick. I gotta agree with you on that one. I think the New York Giants are gonna win this division ultimately. I just think that Eli Manning is the only consistent quarterback in the NFC East. The rest of them are kind of inconsistent right now, and I think that he's going to wield the Giants, even if they're struggling on defense. He's going to be able to propel them to get the division title this year and get back into the playoffs for the first time since 2011. All right, now who do you see winning the NFC North?
Although I was high on the Vikings, I still think that the Packers will come out on top. I think the Vikings will give them a run for their money, but I still think the Packers are too good to stop from winning this division.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you on that. All right, now we get into the fun part of our segment, and that is our Super Bowl picks. Now, you guys can remember that I picked the Seattle Seahawks and Denver Broncos to have a Super Bowl 43 rematch at Super Bowl 50, but since Seattle is on the outside looking in of the playoffs right now, and that they don't really look like they are Super Bowl selves that we know and love, I gotta keep them out of Super Bowl 50, and I gotta move the Green Bay Packers in. And I think that the Broncos will ultimately beat the Green Bay Packers, just like they did last Sunday night. I just think that Denver Broncos defense, led by Aqib Talib, T.J. Ward, Chris Harris, DeMarcus Ware, and Von Miller, and the rest of those boys, I just think that they're going to be too much for Aaron Rodgers to handle once again. And I think Peyton Manning will go out in the sunset and get his second Super Bowl ring. Danny, what do you see happening?
Well, I agree that if the Broncos play the Packers, that the Broncos would win. However, I have the Patriots making the Super Bowl instead of the Broncos. Mm-hmm. The Patriots look unstoppable to me. They just blew the Miami Dolphins out of the water on Thursday night this past week. I think the Patriots are just unstoppable. I think they'll repeat as Super Bowl champions. I do think that if they play the Packers, which I have them playing the Packers in the Super Bowl, I think that it would be a very close game, but I still see the Patriots winning the Super Bowl this year and repeating as champs.
All right, fair enough. Well, we can agree that the rest of this NFL season is going to be very interesting. Now, that wraps things up for us. Let's kick things over to Garrett and Dalton.
Thank you, Chandler. I'm Garrett Lash. This is Dalton Aho. We're going to analyze 3 more divisions for you. Let's start off with the AFC North. What's your biggest disappointment from this division?
The biggest disappointment would have to be the Ravens. I mean, 2-6, they were coming in as one of the favorites to win it. With Joe Flacco and the defense that they still have, I figured they would be off to a much better start. Now, granted, every single game they played in has been close, but their ability to not close out games has really surprised me.
Interesting. I think I'm going to have to go with Pittsburgh on this one. Coming into the season, they had the top receiver and top running back, plus Ben Roethlisberger is no slouch. And I understand they have been hurt at the quarterback position and just recently lost Le'Veon Bell for an extended period of time. But I think that despite that, with all the offensive juggernauts that they had, I think that they should have been able to win more games. All right, now let's move on to the AFC East. We got the Patriots up there at 7-0, well ahead of everyone else in the division. But who's your biggest disappointment?
For me, it's the Miami Dolphins. I was really expecting them to be a playoff team this year. Signing Ndamukong Suh, I thought would boost their defensive line. Now, granted, they did just lose Cameron Wake, so that's going to hurt them also. And Joe Philbin got fired, which is what needed to happen, and Dan Campbell has actually made them play a lot better. But they've still underperformed. I don't like how Tannehill's been really turnover-prone this year, and I had higher expectations for him.
I'm going to have to say the Buffalo Bills. For me, a sleeper pick to win the division, maybe challenging the Patriots there for a spot. But I think especially the questions about Buffalo, when you think about Buffalo, is their quarterback situation. And I just don't think that they have that locked down. And I just don't think they're performing at the quarterback position as well. Now let's move on to your biggest surprise.
It's going to have to be the New York Jets, and I know that's a general consensus pick, but they have a top 3 defense. I didn't expect that. I knew they were good, but they've played way better than anyone expected. And also Ryan Fitzpatrick has played really, really well. Now, we got to follow his injury update, obviously, but with bringing in Brandon Marshall also, he's also I thought he was going to be a little bit too old to do anything, but he's looking just like the Brandon Marshall in his prime time.
But now, who do you think is going to win the division?
Obviously, it's the New England Patriots. They are just on a steamroll. They have a very, very good shot at going 16-0. Tom Brady's playing with so much fire, and he might end up having the best season of his career, believe it or not.
Yeah, it's tough to argue with Tom Brady. He seems to be getting better with age. And it's tough to defend Gronkowski, and their defense is making the plays when they need to, and I just think they're going to roll and run the table. Finally, let's jump over to the NFC. Maybe one of the most surprising divisions in all the league, the NFC South. Many experts thought that they would have the worst teams, and maybe they would struggle, and their playoff team would be the number 4 seed. Obviously, that's not the case. And who's your big surprise?
The biggest surprise for me is the Carolina Panthers. Last year, they didn't look good at all, but now this year, Cam Newton's playing with something to prove. He's having the best season of his career also. And even Ted Ginn's been pretty reliable for them. They've got a decent run game going, and they've just been finding ways to win games.
Yeah, I for the sake of differentiation here, I'm going to take the Atlanta Falcons just because nobody expected anything from them either. Carolina did make it to the playoffs last year, and Atlanta didn't, and I don't think anyone foresaw the start that Atlanta got off to this season, especially the way they've been playing on offense. Matt Ryan to Julio Jones and all his other weapons. Devontae Freeman obviously stepping up. But now let's move over to the negative side. Who's your biggest disappointment?
For me, it's the New Orleans Saints. I know they've been getting it going recently, but still only being 500, I felt like they were the divisional favorites coming in. And Drew Brees got off to a rough start. He threw a lot of interceptions. He was really turnover prone. But now they've completely changed it. They're on a better trajectory, but I still think that they've disappointed me so far.
Division winner.
I think it's going to be the Atlanta Falcons. I think they're going to sweep Carolina and get it done. Their offense is just too explosive. Devonta Freeman's having a great year, and they just have too many weapons. I don't think Carolina will be able to stop them.
I'm going to take Carolina on this one, actually. I think the defense of Carolina is just too powerful, and I don't think that Atlanta's defense is up to par with them. And I think Carolina will be able to shut down Atlanta's offense and win the games when they need to. All right, now we're moving on to the most fun part of this segment, who our Super Bowl picks are going to be, Super Bowl 50. Who you got?
Now, earlier in this year, we did a video stating our Super Bowl picks. And originally, I said it was going to be the Colts and the Cardinals. But now I've changed my mind in the AFC because Andrew Luck is playing through injury and the Colts are kind of a train wreck right now. I'm going to have to take Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. Tom Brady is having an MVP caliber season. This might be his best season yet. And I know the Broncos are coming on strong, but I still think Tom Brady will find a way to get back. Now, in the NFC, I'm going to stick with my Arizona Cardinals. Putting Tyrann Mathieu at the safety position has really changed their secondary. And then having Chris Johnson's completely rejuvenated their running game. And Carson Palmer is also having a great season, so as long as he stays healthy, they'll finish the job. And ultimately, I think Carson Palmer gets his first Super Bowl, and I'm taking Arizona over New England.
All right. I'm going to agree with you on the AFC side. I think that New England cannot be stopped. They have the best playmaker in the game in Tom Brady. I do think that Denver is going to give New England a run for their money, especially the way their defense is playing. Obviously, they had that huge win against Green Bay last week, holding Aaron Rodgers to 77 yards. But I do think that right now I got to take Tom Brady over Peyton Manning, the season that he's having. And then on the NFC side, I'm actually going to go with the Green Bay Packers. They did have a bad week last week, as I just mentioned. But I think it's a fluke. I think Aaron Rodgers is one of the most consistent guys in the league. And I think that just the rest of the season, he's going to make sure that his Packers don't lose. It's going to be Patriots versus the Packers. And then from there, I think I'm going to take the Patriots. They're on a roll right now. It seems like they have an answer for every defense that's thrown at them, which is Gronk. And their defense is playing well too, and you need to have a good defense to win a Super Bowl. And that's a wrap from us. We're going to send it on to the next guys.
Thanks, guys. This is Lorenzo Campbell here.
And I'm D'Angelo Stevenson.
And we're just here to give a mid-season report. We're going to start off our report with the NFC West. Who's your biggest surprise and disappointments out of this division?
My biggest surprise in the NFC West has to be the St. Louis Rams, especially with Todd Gurley being the only option on offense as this team rolls on. They're 4-3. They're looking pretty good early in the season. And I think my biggest disappointment has to be the Seattle Seahawks. Now, this was a team that went to the Super Bowl 2 times in the last 3 years. Their defense is just not playing like we've usually seen, especially with Cam Chancellor being a distraction early off in the season. Sherman's not looking good, so is Earl Thomas. And I just think the Legion of Boom just really doesn't have their boom going on.
Yeah, I have to agree with you completely with the disappointment. Seattle Seahawks, preseason, they're my team to go to the Super Bowl and possibly win it. But they're just not looking as good as they have been the past couple of years. I mean, like you said, the Legion of Boom is just not booming at all. And then you have Russell Wilson, who's not looking like the Russell we've seen. He's dating Sierra, and me personally, I believe Sierra's cursed. Everybody she dates, their career just it deflates. So Sierra, I honestly feel like Russell, you should get rid of that. But when it comes to surprises, honestly, I can't say I was surprised by anybody in this division besides, Seattle not doing what they had to do. Arizona, I felt like they was going to be a good team because last year they were a good team. The Rams, they're 4-3. I mean, I'm not going to say they're surprised me in doing good because they always show flashes of being a good young team. You have Todd Gurley doing this thing. Tavon Austin's always going to do his thing. Their defense is doing they're doing just enough to get by. So I feel like, they're going to be pretty good. And our next division we're going to go into the AFC side, the AFC West. How you feel about that division over there?
Well, with the AFC West, I'm going to have to go with the Oakland Raiders as my biggest surprise. This is a team who hasn't really looked good in the past couple of years. Now they have the 1-2 punch of their own in Derek Carr and rookie Amari Cooper, who's been racking up yards all season long up to this point.
Yeah, my surprise is it's the same too. Oakland Raiders are looking very, very good. They went in San Diego last week, and they really made them look like a little league team. San Diego is my team, and they made them not look good at all. Like you said, Amari Cooper's looking good. Derek Carr's looking good. If you look at Derek Carr's stats, his stats are very similar to Aaron Rodgers' stats. Like, they both have the same amount of touchdowns, I believe. He's thrown maybe one more interception than Aaron Rodgers has. Their QB rating is right there. So those two, that duo right there, that's something we're going to see in the future become a very good duo. So that team, they're surprising me also. I feel like they could possibly make a playoff run and be contenders if they keep it up how they're doing.
My biggest disappointment in the AFC West has to be the Kansas City Chiefs. This was a team in the past couple of years who had a great defense. Andy Reid really fits the scheme of this team. Their defense just hasn't been looking good. Eric Berry returning back from cancer. They're just not looking right, and their offense is just all types of screwed up.
Yeah, they're just not clicking. But my biggest disappointment, as y'all know, I'm a San Diego fan, is San Diego. Last year they did not have a good season. You would think, okay, they're bringing in weapons like Stevie Johnson and stuff like that on offense. Got Melvin Gordon. There you got Jason Verrett coming back. You would think, okay, they're gonna do good. Antonio Gates was suspended the first 4 games, but he comes back and they're still not looking too well. They won the first game he came back, but that was it. They really haven't done anything. They're not planning on signing Eric Weddle back. He said he doesn't want to return next year, so we're probably gonna trade our all-pro safety. And I mean, our defense, they aren't clicking. Brandon Flowers isn't coming together. San Diego just doesn't look like the team they have been in prior years, where they were playoff teams beating teams like the Colts, beating teams like the Bengals in the playoffs. They're just not looking like the team they have in prior years, and they're disappointing me all around this season.
When you look at the San Diego Chargers, they had the same system for the past couple of years. They've just been looking really great previously, but this year they just can't find a way to work.
Yeah, I have to totally agree with you on that. But now on to our most exciting part of this segment, Super Bowl predictions. Who you got going mid-season?
Well, when you look at the AFC, the New England Patriots are the favorite to return to the Super Bowl this year. Tom Brady has a mission. He's on a statement to get this team to the promised land. When we look at the NFC, the Green Bay Packers are my favorite to go to the Super Bowl this year. Aaron Rodgers is having one of those MVP-type seasons, and even though they lost to the Denver Broncos last night, I still have them as my favorite. Now I just feel like Green Bay is going to take it all the way.
Yeah, well, prior to the season, my 2 picks were the Colts and Seattle. As you see, both of those teams are not doing good whatsoever. But I'm going to tell you one thing about the AFC. The Colts are still going to win their division, hands down, I believe. So I believe the Colts, they're going to have one of those giant-type seasons where they started off bad, but then they came back and they really finished strong. So I feel like the Colts are going to go into the playoffs, and they still going to make their way to the Super Bowl.
I like that.
And then for the NFC, my pick was the Seattle Seahawks. And, I mean, I feel like they was going to have a battle with Green Bay. And so I believe now Green Bay has already won that battle, honestly, because I don't think Seattle's going to make the playoffs the way it's looking. So I feel like Green Bay is going to go into the Super Bowl, and they're going to go against the Colts, who I still believe are going to get there. Now, I don't believe the Colts are going to win anymore. I believe the Packers are going to get it.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Yeah, definitely. So that ends our part. On behalf of Capital City Sports, I'm Lorenzo Campbell.
And I'm D'Angelo Stevenson.
And we'll see you next time.